Hi, everyone. Let me get James. He's not here yet. Hi, everyone. There he is. Okay. All right. Oh, God. Hey, James, hold on one second. All right. I'm getting us live on Facebook. Yeah. Hey. James, I pushed you to promote you to got it. To panelist. Hello, there you are, darling. Hello. Okay, make a co-host.
Hi.
Okay, great. We are live. Full screen. Hi, everyone. Hi, James.
Hi, Valerie. Nice to see you.
You as well. Awesome. All right. I was just getting like a little organized here. I'm ready.
Always good.
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone on Facebook. Hi, everyone that's joining us on our live here on the webinar right now. So glad to see you guys and glad to see everyone on Facebook. Hopefully we've got more people joining us, but we have 12. That's good. That's better than nothing. Oh, we have 2 minutes before we're really supposed to start.
So we're not even real yet.
No, we're not real yet.
This is all just imaginary.
It's just making up in my mind right
That's right.
Okay, so say if you guys are here on the webinar, please put in the chat where you're calling in from. We'd love to hear from you and let us know where you're calling in from. We just met a ton of Greece. London. Wow. Yeah, I was just in London.
Love London.
There's Effie. I saw Effie live and in person. I love meeting my clients for real when, you know. Oh, there's Maria. She's a new client. Hi, Maria Castello. She's awesome. So good to see you. And I was just in London and I got to see some of my clients in person. We had a nice little party. It was fun. So we really enjoyed it. It was a good time. I'm still jet lagged.
I'm sure. Yeah, I mean, it was a whirlwind trip.
It was.
Yeah. It's one thing to go on vacation and to be in a place and to deal with jet lag. It's a whole different ballgame when you're working and busy and meeting people, and you know. I'm sure that your trip was very different from your husband's.
Well, we did have some good times. Like we had some delicious meals. Good. And we had, so we also had a really good time too. We weren't just like working the whole time, but we were working. Like it was a lot of work the weekend and all that. So
yeah.
Okie dokie. All right. So here we go. Hi, first of all. Hi out there, if you're watching us online right now. I'm Valorie Hubbard, the CEO of Actors Fast Track. I'm a working actor. In fact, I just booked a video game.
Yay!
Yeah.
Woo-hoo! That's awesome. That's awesome.
And so yesterday I was dealing with all kinds of acting things that pissed me off, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. And then so that's good. And I definitely have something to talk about today. So I'll bring that up. But James, tell everyone who you are.
I'm James Hallett, James Hallett Studio. I am also an actor, working actor. But mostly at this point in my life, I'm a coaching actor. I am a professional coach. I coach actors on auditions, film, TV, stage. as well as in progress projects, and also I work to help unblock the places that are stuck and the things that need to shift inside. So that's who I am.
Awesome. And you coached me on a Broadway show right before I went to London. So
Oh
I
my
feel like we
God.
just saw each other because we
I
did.
know, and that was awesome.
Thank you. I really enjoyed working with you. I mean, I always enjoy working with you, but like sometimes like when you're so used to doing self-tapes all the time and like you get your husband to read with you who is like not an actor, like there's no acting going on, right? It's just like him delivering the lines and me doing the thing, right? But like when you get to coach with James and then he gets to read with you on your audition, it's a totally different situation. So that was like really fun. Like that was a fun day for me.
Yeah.
And I also auditioned the same day for the video game, which I got. So we'll talk.
Fantastic. That's
Fabulous.
so awesome.
I know.
So
It's all
fantastic.
good. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So some of you guys have heard the story, but I'm going to tell you the story again because it's important to bring up what I'd like to talk to James about. And it's also begun to formulate in my head more into the message that I bring to you guys and your acting career. And I'm glad Anna's here because I had amazing coaching with Anna this morning. And it's sort of like it's coming to fruition for me. So here's the story. I'll try to keep it short. I went to see this documentary called This Is Who We Are, Racism in America. And it molecularly changed me and how I was thinking. So about 5-6 years ago, I was at an event, you know, not for actors, but for entrepreneurs. And I got up to the mic and they said to me, Valorie, what do you want to accomplish? And I said, and it came out of my mouth. And I said, well, I want to be a part of ending racism. And then I like started bawling, right? And I didn't know, that just seems so big and so overwhelming. Like, you know, like where did that come from? And it was just so big. And it was, you know, and so I had said that. And then I kind of was like, well, you know, here I am in the middle of changing the way actors do business and building this business, right? And I don't even know how that would work together. So then I went and saw this movie, like now it's been 6 years, 5 years. And I went and saw this movie and it totally affected me, right? So the next morning I'm listening to church online and my minister is preaching about this verse in Matthew about, you know, how Jesus told the fishermen to go into deeper waters. They had just come back from fishing and he told them to go into deeper waters. And my minister was like, what are your deeper waters? And I'm like bawling, listening to this online. Like, I'm like, what are my deeper waters? Oh, and then like later that night, we went snowboarding and there was a bunch of white supremacists there, right? And they had these bumper stickers on their cars that were really awful. And I took a Sharpie and I marked out the bumper sticker. And then the guy came out and Gilbert's like, and for you guys that don't know, my husband is Black. So like, you know, there's a whole nother level here. And so this guy comes out and I'm like, he's like, maybe he saw you. What are we going to do? You need to stay by the car. And like, so like I drove the car around the parking lot and like my heart was like, bob, 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 right? So like the next morning I woke up and I went to spin class. And before I went to spin class, I was meditating and I was doing a guided meditation. And in the meditation, they were talking about letting it be because I came home and I felt bad about marking out the sticker. Like that just seems so petty. And it seems like at the same level they are, right? And like, I need to figure out how I rise above that. And so I was thinking about that. And then the meditation was on let it be is the way to let go. And so I go to spin class and my spin teacher plays Let It Be. And I'm like, okay, God, I hear you, right? So like I'm on this coaching call with my coach, you know, and he said to me, you know, Valorie, I find acting is so circumstantial, right? Like, what if you could take your moneymaker and the thing that you love and put them together? And I said, well, it's weird because all these people are showing up in my life. And he goes, I mean, like I have two people that have very strong Black Lives Matter content, you know, platforms. And I'm getting all these very interesting clients that are are showing up in my life. And he's like, Valorie, that's because you're calling them in. So then I went off to London and I'm thinking about this and I'm thinking, a lot of times what I do with actors is I sit there and I tell them, they come to me and they're like, I just want to book my first TV show. I just want to book a co-star, right? And I'm like, and so I'm telling them this stuff that absolutely sounds boring to me, right? And then I thought, what's the bigger thing here? Like, what if as actors, so the thing is, like, actors are never told that they're entrepreneurs, right? No one ever tells you that in any acting school, that you're an entrepreneur and what that means. And so, like, Anna came to her coaching call. I'm just going to use her as an example this morning.
Yeah.
And she came to her coaching call and she was like, we had talked previously about her doing like Law and Order. And I don't find anything wrong with Law and Order or anything. I'm not downplaying that. But I was like, Anna, what you've shown me in the time that you're working with me is that you're a real actor, like that you are interested in becoming the best that you can possibly be. And I've been watching that show, Inventing Anna, right? And I'm thinking about that actress and Julia Gardner, or whatever her name is, the girl that plays of Anna. And she's such a brilliant actress and she can do all these dialects. And I'm like, that's who you should be. Like, you should be playing at that level. Like, doesn't it excite you more to watch a bunch of movies or TV shows that you're really inspired and then go after those people that you want to work with because you're inspired by the work as an actor, rather than going, okay, well, first I need to get on Spotlight and get an agent, and then I pitch myself to get a co-star. You put yourself in a circumstantial position rather than putting yourself in a power position, right? Rather than putting yourself in the position of like, that's where I'm headed, right? Because that's so much more exciting to go and pursue what you love and really devote yourself to the craft, but combine it with the business. Like, how do we do that? So anyway, that's like where my head is today. And, we're getting ready to do this challenge. And if you haven't signed up for the challenge, you need to do it because we're all going to be together discussing this stuff. And in the meantime, I got this video game and it feels like it's all about the COVID test, not about the acting.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I mean, you said a lot, and I want to take a second.
Take it apart, James.
Well, no, I mean, not in any way. Actually, what you said is so beautiful, so I don't want to take it apart in any sense. I just want to reflect on it and sort of mirror it back to you. I mean, your statement, I want to be a part of ending racism. I'm gonna cry because it means so much to me. Sorry, just the truth.
Sorry.
So like we're both white, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that we can offer is an inclusive space where everyone is welcome. No one is judged on the color of their skin or their sexual identity, and it takes work, right? It takes work to listen to people because people have experienced pain and rejection, and so a big part of it is creating a space that's safe. And I've seen you do that. It's what you do. It's what you bring to the table again and again. And that's beautiful. And know that in and of itself, that's a huge statement of purpose. And because the reality is that there's so many people who come to be with you, Val, who feel that safe space, and it's in your community. So that's the first thought, and the challenge that you're asking about, deeper waters. It's true inside of ourselves, right? We have to challenge ourselves to go deeper, We have to do it in our acting. And of course, there are levels. Like as a coach and as an actor, I think of the levels of acting that are over time. Over time, my work gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and I challenge my coaching clients to get deeper and deeper and deeper in their work.
Yes.
And there are times where the character that we're working on doesn't really afford that, right? Like there are times where we're playing a functional character, right? I'm at a desk and I say, "Hi, how can I help you?" Right? And the person the person, auditioning, the auditioner doesn't really care about my history and my past, and but if we let go of those characters that are just sort of a functional character, most characters allow for deeper work. And it's a great question. What is the deeper work? And Arthur Griffith.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've begun to work with Arthur, who's doing beautiful work, is the question of understanding, like, from the other person's perspective, and asking the question, what did they just do to me? What did that character just do to me?
Yeah.
That is the inspiration for what I'm doing back. So that we actually begin to put ourselves in the shoes of the other person.
Yeah.
And the minute we do that, the minute that our consciousness includes stepping into the shoes of the other person, we are practicing the art of compassion.
Yeah. That is one thing. That is one of the main things I love about acting, is playing people that I don't agree with, because it allows me to find the humanity in people that I don't agree with what they do. And like, rather than commenting on it, I remember I did this play many years ago. It ended up going to Broadway. I did not go to Broadway with the play. I originated the role. And there was a character in that play where she was this woman who the rest of us, the other two women in the play, we knew that her husband was sleeping with everyone that moved, basically. And she's the only one that didn't. She has the only one that the wife herself had not admitted to that, but everyone else knew that. Right. And so I remember when I saw it on Broadway, the girl that was playing the role was commenting, right? Like commenting, because she couldn't allow herself on Broadway to like fall into that character, to be that character that's desperately in love with this man and is so in denial about what this man is doing. And so that was the first lesson for me, to really see that you have to let go of all your outward presumptions of what you feel about this person and allow yourself to find the humanity of that person. Because as a white actress, I'm going to be asked to play racist characters, especially as we begin to tell the stories of the things that are currently happening and have been happening. And because we're at a tipping point, again, we're right where we were before, during the Civil Rights Act. Right. Martin Luther King was assassinated, and then it just went like this. Right. And what he said right before he died was, he said, I did this speech that said, I have a dream. But he said, now it's a nightmare, because I got rid of the easy stuff, like sitting on the bus, right, on the right, wherever I want to on the bus. That's easy, because that doesn't cost anyone any money. But when we're talking about retributions for African Americans and Native Americans in this country, you're talking about unbuilding the entire structure of this country and rebuilding it from the ground up, and giving them, because now we see the levels of, even in the last 50 years since Martin Luther King, the levels of, it's like, if you've ever been to South Africa, and you see what happens when you take land away from a bunch of people and you move them out to the shanty land, and then it creates this domino effect that, the more layers that are there between when it happened and what happened. And now we're talking 200 years, right? Over 200 years, then there's a whole bunch of shit that has to be systematically unpacked to get to the healing process, right? And so I know we're this is about acting, right? You're like, why are we talking about this? But it's like, these are the stories that we are going to be asked to tell y'all, right? And so you're a craftsman. If you're an actor, you're a craftsman. If you just want to go get an agent and whatever, Actors Past are probably in the right place for you. I'm just going to say, because like, I want to go deep. Like, I want to go deep. I want to turn you into the best actor that you can be. Right. And I want you to go into deep waters, whatever that means. Right. And so whatever that means for you, what are your deep waters? Where are you not going because you're scared?
And also the other thing about that is that it may feel like the most vulnerable part of us, but that's where our most powerful self is. These two are together. Like our ability to go deep is also the power.
Yeah.
That's
And we
where we
need to find that power more than ever, because what I've seen in the last couple of days with both of these projects that I'm involved in as an actor is that that actors are an afterthought so much.
Oh,
and
God,
our unions aren't doing anything about that. So we have to learn how to stand up for ourselves now more than ever before. We have to be able to ask for what we want. I mean, yesterday I got a book of all the shit that I got to sign. And that, like, basically, do you want me to write the video game for you too? Because it feels like that's what you want. Right. And I have all this stuff, even more stuff they sent me today. I asked them for the script. It shoots on the 28th. You know when they're going to give me my script?
I don't know.
Get ready. The 25th.
I really feel like there's so many people in the industry who don't understand acting, and they don't understand the depth of acting. Like one of the actors that I work with described going into an audition and having the this is a callback, right? And the director sat on camera looking at the person, and the reader was off screen, and it was like this really awkward situation where the reader's off screen and she's staring in the eyes of the person who's judging her. And I thought, wow, that's a real lack of understanding of connection.
Yeah.
Of what we do. And I also wanted to say that Tony Scott said, I have those types of stories from the military and civilian life. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know Tony, but
client. Yeah.
But Tony, I feel for you, and I don't know if this is the moment, but I would love to I'd love to hear more of your experiences, because it's really it's really profound and it's hard, and we all experience it from our own shoes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I just, I think that the other things that we as actors, we have to be willing to educate the other person in a gentle way. And one of the ways to educate is by asking questions. So if I'm put in a situation that doesn't, if I'm put in a situation that's not going to show my best work, I have to find a way to be willing to say, would you mind if I see would you mind if I actually can see the reader? Is that possible?
Yeah. Or would you, or if I get the script on Friday the 25th and it's 20,000 lines and it's too much for me to learn in 2 days, the guts to say, I'm sorry, no. I asked for the script on the 16th of February. You told me that you couldn't give it to me for 9 days. I'm sorry. No.
I know. I coached an actor going in for a first call of a play. First call of a play, given 2 or 3 days, they're given 20 pages to memorize. Right? 20 pages to memorize for a first call. And I'm like, I'm like, really? Like, you couldn't give that person 3 pages and decide whether you want to see them again? I mean, seriously, like the demands. I mean, and this is just griping because this is an industry wide thing. Like, people are giving more and more text for actors to, in a first audition, actors are supposed to memorize an enormous amount of text and come in, and that's really, it's a misunderstanding of our time. Like, it's like, it's a misunderstanding of what we do. We are not machines.
No, that's what I said. I'm not a machine. I'm an actor. And
Yeah.
if you want me to give a fully realized performance, you're only giving me 2 days.
Then you're just going to get the shallow performance.
You're going to get
That's
a shallow performance. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Because that's what you're going to get.
Is that what you want? Is that the product you want?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess so. Right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
It's really hard, and this is, um, there's no right answer to this. I think this is just as with you, your initial question, Valerie, like, being a part of ending racism. It's step by step.
Yeah.
It's moment by moment. It's day by day. It's showing up. It's making mistakes and correcting. The most profound way that I talk about the imagery and dream work that I do is that we are a garden, and day by day we are tending the garden. And there are things that are going to come up. There are rocks that are going to come up, and there are bugs that are going to appear, and there's irritation and there's dryness, and we have to water things and make sure things get sun, and it's the day-to-day tending that makes our garden beautiful.
Exactly. And it's important to tend it before you think you need to tend it, because like, I have to say that my meditation practice has really shown me that, because by meditating on a regular basis, I'm more likely to deal with the situation. Although yesterday I didn't deal well with my situations because I was tired, so that whole thing about hungry, angry, lonely, tired, halt, right? If you've ever heard that, hungry, angry, lonely, tired,
That's good.
like tired is a big one for me. It's like, so I'm like, oh, okay, so what's the lesson here? The lesson is when I travel internationally that I have to take that bounce back day. Like, I can't just go right back to work, because that was like, and then dealing with all this, acting jobs, like, which I feel like a lot of the stuff that I'm doing that I'm having to deal with is shit that I never had to deal with before. My agents dealt with that. Right. It's like, oh, do this, jump through this hoop, do this, do that. Like, I'm like, what do you want me to do? Write it for you and costume for it. Like, I always had an issue with that too. Like, when I would do these independent films with big stars in them, and I remember I was doing 2 independent films at the same time. And one of them, they treated me like I had an hour and a half costume fitting that I got paid for. And it was like, treated like the queen. And the other one, they're like, where's your shoes? Didn't you bring any shoes? I'm like, you didn't tell me to bring shoes, right? Like, I have the shoes on my feet and that's it. Right. But it's like, so this one, you want me to costume it for you? Okay. Right. Or like write it, or, it's like during COVID when some of my clients booked commercials, they had to shoot in their house. They wanted us to light it, decorate it, move furniture. Like, it's like, yeah, no, you're going to have to pay me extra for that. And so we have to get to a point where we have to stand in our power and be able to ask for what we want and deliver it, and also go for what we want. I think like we go for what we think we can get.
I I am 100% with you. As a stage actor, one of the big things that that I encountered a lot was that you'd walk into a room and the room would be set up a certain way, and a lot of actors will come in and they'll just do it the way that it's set up, like there's a chair in the middle, whatever, and it's like I'm like, this is my moment to show you what I can do. I'm going to move this chair wherever I want to move this chair, because I'm going to show you how I prepared first. And this is also one of those things that a lot of, I've noticed that a lot of casting directors will give someone feedback before they start.
Yeah.
And here's they'll say, okay, so people have been coming in here and they're really way too big, and I want this to be a certain way, blah 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 blah, and they're going on what other people have done,
Yeah.
and it can really throw you off if you try to change what you've prepared before, like, and my feeling is, show them the best work you've done, and then ask for adjustments.
Right.
Show them your best. Show them what you've prepared, as opposed to getting thrown off. Because, this is that challenge, right? How do we stand our ground? How do we stand firm and solid?
Yes. How do we stand our ground and go for what we want? Because, like, going for 3 lines on Law and Order, if that bores you, then you shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if along the way you get 3 lines on Law and Order, you won't be sad when you get all those checks in the mail. But if that's not what gets you out of bed in the morning, if becoming Meryl Streep or doing that kind of acting is what inspires you, then that's what you should be going for. Like, right. So it's so much easier to write a producer of a TV show that you just watched that really moved you, or a movie that you watched that just really moved you. It's so much easier to reach out to the director based on your emotional connection to their work.
And it's more true.
Yeah.
It's real. It's yeah, it's much, it's more, what you just said is like a gold mine, right? That's like a diamond, it's like, how would I want someone to reach out to me? Do I want them to reach out to me all about them? This is one of those challenges of one of the experiences that I had in LA. And I apologize if this is, I don't mean to upset anybody, but one of my experiences of LA is that I would meet actors and they would speak their resume to me. And I'm like, I don't care what you've done or what, like, who are you? What do you like? Like, why are you at this party? What books have you read? Anything about you, or personal, or what's happening, or but I think people come to a place of feeling like they have to,
Prove
it's like they
themselves.
have to hand you the resume. Hand you the menu.
Yeah.
Like they're handing you a menu, and it's like, I don't know. Let me look around the restaurant first. Let me just enjoy it for a second.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like, it's like, if we didn't work so hard to prove ourselves, if we just allowed ourselves to stand in the glory and the value of who we are and what we love, then we'd probably get hired quicker.
And also, as you said earlier, right, the interest in the other person.
Exactly. It's like, I always tell the story, like a million years ago, I booked this commercial. Well, I was sick. I had the flu, the stomach flu, and I had to go to this callback. And the whole callback, all I was thinking, the whole callback was like, don't throw up, 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 right? Like, I'm thinking that. And I was on a subway train and I was like looking down here and I'm like, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up. And they're like, Valorie, could you do this? I'm like, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up, like that. I'm just like doing that, right? And and then, like, as soon as I left, it was like down in Soho, I went to the Duane Reade on Broadway in Houston, and I was like, where's our bathroom? And I went in there and like, I threw up, like it was like bad, and so then I booked it. And I was like, okay, so I booked it. Why did I book it? Because it was like, I was focused on one thing, which was not throwing up. Right. That was the first thing, which was like, gave me an alter, like, boom, like I was so focused. And then I remember when I was like on the subway in the middle of the night, like it was 3 nights on a subway and, in Times Square shooting this commercial. They're like, can you do what you did when you were looking at us? Like, oh my God, how do I do that? Like, don't throw up, don't throw up.
Exactly.
Yeah, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up. Like, right. And then, like, what is the weirdness? And I started watching that new show, which takes place in Kansas on HBO.
Which one is it?
It's somewhere something. Wait, I'll tell you. Hold on. I'll tell you what it is. Hold on. Let me tell you. It's so good. I started watching it last night. This girl is just weird, right? And it's like um it's called let me see if I can find it. Because like my best friend keeps telling me, Steven keeps saying, have you watched this? Somebody somewhere. Somebody somewhere.
Okay, I'm gonna watch it.
And this girl that's on this show, she's so like she's gonna remind you, and her name is Sam. She's gonna remind you of Samantha Bennett
Oh,
so much. And like, but like she's like, she has this like just awkwardness that's real, right? And she's in it. Like you really believe it, right? She, it's like, when you're able to be in, like you said, your vulnerability, your awkwardness, your ugliness, that's what's super sexy about anyone as an actor.
So there's a message that I tell all of my coaching clients, and it is, what if this role was written for me? Right? I'm auditioning, and I might get caught in, what do I think they want? Who do I think they want to cast? What type of person is this person supposed to be skinnier, taller, younger,
older?
Right? We can get caught in a fantasy. It's just fantasy. It's not reality. It's just a fantasy that is a distraction from, as Valorie said, the deeper waters.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that I think to get to the deeper waters is to ask the question, well, what if this role was written for me? What if the writer was like, I'm going to write a role for Valorie Hubbard? Well, if a writer tells you that, how are you going to approach it? You're going to ask the question, well, if it's written for me, I don't have to be anything else. I'm going to bring my best self, my best talent, my creative imagination, but I'm not going to feel hindered because they wrote it for me. It was written for me.
It's you.
So I love your initial question, and I think it's such a great question. What are your deeper waters?
Yeah, what are your deeper waters?
And I would post this, like, we have a Q&A in the Zoom. This is like, you guys out there, what are your deeper waters? Right? What, if you were asked that question, what are your deeper waters? I mean, Valorie really came up with a powerful statement. I want to be part of ending racism. What for you are your deeper waters? Because your beingness in the world and your being as an actor doesn't have to be separate from that.
Yes, that's the thing. Your acting doesn't have to be separate from that. And you don't need to know exactly what that means or what that's going to look like. That's the other thing that I was someone that always like had to know my lines and know my blocking. And, and the thing that I'm realizing is like, it's okay to be in the unknown and sort of not know, but just to continue to ask the question. So we have a Q&A so post your questions in the Q&A. We are starting a challenge on February 28th.
Okay.
It's a 2-week challenge. We're going to meet every day starting Monday, February 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And we are going to give you your challenge for that day. It's going to be on Facebook Live. If you are not on Facebook Live, we will be sending out the recording with the challenge every day, like what we ask you to do. We're going to ask you to post it in the Facebook Live. If you can't post it in Facebook Live, if you're not on Facebook, then you can send it to us, right? But we're going to ask you to commit to a challenge every day.
Can you give me like a sense of like, if you were to say, like, what kind of a challenge? So, what might be an example of?
Write down 10 people right now that you would really want to work with. 10 directors, producers, writers, or casting directors that are doing things that you really want to work with. And if you have no idea the answer to that question, you're not watching enough content or reading enough plays. The smart actor wins the day. So I'm telling you to go out there and turn on Netflix, turn on Hulu, turn on HBO Max, go to a film festival online, go watch some stuff, get an opinion about what you want to do, not about what you think you can do, but what you want to do, who you want to work with because of the art that they are in the process of telling. So Ava DuVernay, like if I want to end racism, I might write down Ava DuVernay because Ava DuVernay is going to make some product coming out that's about January 6th, George Floyd, Black Lives Matter, right? Like the rise again of white supremacy in this country. She's going to be making movies about that. She's going to be making TV shows. I would like to be a part of the story, even if I'm the bad guy.
Yep.
Right? Because those stories need to get out there. So that would be someone that I would write down, Ava DuVernay. So write down those 10 names. Okay, well, Valorie, I don't know what I'm selling and who I am. Great. Today's exercise is to write down 10 adjectives. Go to your friends, go to 5 friends tonight. Have them give you 3 to 5 adjectives that best describe you. Make a list, write down 10 adjectives that best describe you. That's your challenge today. And then put it online. So we're going to do stuff that gets you thinking like a business person and gets you thinking in your heart and your passion. That's what we're going to be doing every day for 2 weeks.
That's
right?
awesome.
Starting February 28th. So sign up for the challenge. Sarah just put the link in the chat. It's theactorschallenge.com. It's free, right? Then on March 12th, we are going to have Accelerate Live event, which does cost money, but it's only $27. We are going to bring it all together. We're going to give cash prizes for the people that participated in the challenge the most. We're going to have an amazing panel of industry guests. So like we're talking about major producers, directors, writers. Those are the kind of people that we're going to have on our panel. And we're going to have that. And we're going to do some heavy, deep teaching that day. It's a 5-hour event. That's a $27 ticket. So you join us for the challenge for 2 weeks, and then you come to the Accelerate Live. Right? So good. Awesome. And also one more thing, if you do want to talk to us about working with us, and Sarah will put her link for her calendar in the chat so you can get on her calendar if you want to talk to her. So that's it. So let's take some questions. We have a couple. What are they?
Well, Adriana asks, I'm completely new to acting at age 50, following my dream as a child. What do you suggest to do first for start?
Okay. Adriana, I believe we met in London. Is that correct? I think so. If I think I'm right about that. Yes, I remember you. Yeah. So you signed up for the challenge. I'm pretty sure you should definitely do the challenge. I would also recommend that Sarah just put her link in the calendar. Get on Sarah's calendar and have a conversation with her, because Sarah knows everything about everything. She's one of the smartest people I know. She can really guide you and where you should go. We talked a lot about your acting and how you're more following your instincts and stuff like that. I also think it might be a good idea for you to reach out to James and maybe do a session with James or talk to James, because I also feel like James is really centered on that as an acting coach. I don't know that an acting class is necessarily where I would say for you to go, but maybe having some coaching sessions with someone that thinks like James might be a good idea. because she's very attached. I had a very good conversation with her. She's very attached, James, to trusting her natural energy and her natural instincts as an actor. And I don't want to mess with that, because sometimes you don't need to be. I mean, the number 4 actor on Star Meter today is whatever her name is, Julie Garner, the lead in Inventing Anna and Ozark. She went to acting class, but she's not like, she didn't go to like the Juilliard, Yale. She didn't do that. James went to Yale. There's nothing wrong. And I went to one of those kind of schools. We both went to high-end conservatory acting schools. But that's not the only way into acting. Sometimes it's a natural instinct thing. And I think that she really has that going on for herself. So what would you say to that, James, now that I told you about a little bit about what I know?
So I would say the first, the first thing is the discovery and the decision. It's very powerful when we follow our dreams. When we actually follow our dreams, we are energizing something that's already alive and awake in us. So that's I think the first step you've done when you say what's the first step. The first start is to say yes, yes. And I know I don't mean that to sound quaint. I mean that's really the truth, right? That the first place is to say yes, and then it's to keep listening to your dream. And I think that what Valorie has, like the kinds of things that Valorie talked about in the challenge, are great steps for the beginning. What do I like? What kind of performance do I like? What kind of a show would I want to be on? Where do I see myself fitting into the market? Like if I turn on a TV show, it's like, what role should I be playing?
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in the sense of like, I want to be a lead, so I just say the lead. It's looking at a show and going, where am I in this, right? And if you don't see yourself in that show, then find a director or a project where they are using you.
Yeah.
And that's and then the next question is a great Valerie's second example of the challenge is a great example, which is go to your friends and ask them for 10 adjectives that best describe you, so that you begin to think about yourself as a like if I'm a product in the marketplace, what is that? How are other people looking at me? How are other people seeing me? Because it's really important when we step into the industry. We have to be conscious of how other people encounter us.
Absolutely. Right? So I just want to tell you this, there's nothing wrong with doing acting for the love of doing acting. I mean, that's what amateur means, to do something because you love to do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to make a living acting, you have to be able to describe your product, because the most important thing in business is making money. That's what business is. Business is the exchange of ideas, products, or information for money, right? That's all business is, right? And so if you're not bringing money in the door, then you're not really in business. Now, if you're beginning, you might not be making a lot of money, but you have to take steps that are going to bring money into the door, which means that you have to sell. And in order to sell, you have to be able to describe what you're selling, right? And understand what their pain is, right? So sales is service. So casting directors, producers, and writers need to tell stories, right? We are the storytellers. So we have to understand what stories we fit in and what stories are our stories to tell, right? So I want to tell stories that end racism, which means I'm probably going to be playing some racist.
I know. It's true. It's true. And also in doing so, because of who you are, the people who you're playing with will feel safe.
Yes.
And that's also critical. because you're going to be coming, like, even if you play a racist, you're going to create a safe environment with the people who who you're interacting with, right? And it's always our job. It's always our job to make the other actor feel safe to go where
Yes.
they need to go,
Yes.
right? Now,
Yes.
and that's so. The other thing, that I would say about starting out. I mean, whether you talk to someone like me or you talk to, I would say definitely talk to Valerie's team. Um, you know, talking to someone who's going to sort of honestly talk to you about where you are. Ask you to read a scene with them so they can help you to sort of figure out what things to work on. Um, I think that's a really great idea. And it doesn't. I would avoid a situation where someone just wants to get you into their class. because that's a whole, when someone is just like, I want you to audition for me for my class. That's a business person wanting to make money off of you.
Yeah.
So find a coach who's willing to sort of sit down with you and read some things with you, and then help you to figure out where you are, and what things would make you more confident and comfortable.
Right.
I mean,
Right. One thing I got, good at, because I learned the hard way, is when, I've been in this business now 10 years. And, one thing that I got really good at is like, I'm not for everyone. Right. And so what I really got good at is like not having that need to sell you something, because like like if you want to work with me and we're a right match, I charge money because I have a staff and I have to pay everyone, including myself. I don't work for free. But like at the same time, it's like, I don't have any, you have to be willing to lose. You have to be willing to, if you want it, that's the thing. It's like, you have to be willing to say no. You have to be willing to, that's the better life to live, right? Than saying yes, yes, yes to everyone because you're scared of what if you don't.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the thing that I've really learned in being in business. It's like, oh, okay. So, because I said yes to some people that I worked with in the last 10 years that, like, they could have paid me $1 million and it wasn't enough money.
Yeah.
And I knew that.
Oops, sorry.
I knew that.
I was gonna say that Adriana's follow-up was, I just want to be me, and my answer to that is, that's all we ever have to be, especially for TV and film. The more us we are, the more we are relaxed in ourselves,
Yeah.
the more present we are, the better.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be something other than yourself to succeed. I mean, there are, that is not saying that there aren't character actors who transform. There are.
Yeah.
But I don't think that anyone says to them, you can't be you. I think that part of who they are in their core beingness is a transformational actor.
Yeah.
It's the chameleon. So if you're a chameleon, fantastic. If you're one character type, fantastic. There are roles for everybody in this industry. That's the truth. There is so much going on, you guys. There's we don't have to cut ourselves up and transform ourselves and show up in some different form.
Yeah.
We have to show up.
Do we have more questions?
Yeah. So Georgina Minter Brown says, will we be able to watch a recording of Accelerate live if we can't make it on the day?
Yes. As long as you buy a ticket, I will send out the recording to you.
Got it.
Now, just so you guys know, generally at my events, we do breakout rooms just so you can get a little private time with a smaller group of actors. We do that frequently. So we can't record breakout rooms, obviously, because, there'll probably be upwards of 200 people at the event. Obviously, I can't, record like 20 different breakout rooms. So that is not recorded. But we, if you buy a ticket, we'll send out the recording.
Cool. And
yeah, we'd love, but Georgina, also, get on Sarah's calendar. Sarah posts her link in the chat. Get on Sarah's calendar and talk to her. if you haven't done that already, and you haven't talked to Sarah about like, what it would be like to work with us or whatever, like just to see, if that's something that might be a good fit for you. Sarah is opening up her calendar. I'm super busy. Got a lot. Obviously, I'm working a lot as an actress right now. I know, it's so crazy. So, yeah.
So I want to go back to one thing you said, Valorie. You were talking about Julia Garner.
Yeah.
She's fantastic.
She's fantastic.
She's fantastic. She really is. She's fantastic. Just had to say that because it's really fun. It's so much fun to see a young actor or actress really exploding. It's so much fun. It's so great.
I mean, my God, she's number 4 on IMDb today. I looked. I was like, oh my God, she's so good in that. So good. And I saw her on like Jimmy Fallon, and she was like going through all these different accents. And I was just like, she's just so, I was telling Anna about that this morning in her coaching session. I was like, because Anna's really been working on vocally. I mean, she went to 4 years of acting school or 3 years of acting school and did all that. Now she's working on different things. And I'm like, a connection to your voice and connection to your instrument in that way is such a great way to get deeper into the deeper waters as you as an actor. At least for me, that was really true. Physically and vocally were the 2 areas in my life that changed me profoundly as an actor.
So Darren Husk has a question.
Yeah.
I got an agent right before COVID, and I'm debating whether or not to continue with them. I haven't had many auditions with them and wasn't able to foster any relationship with them. What should I do? So I'm gonna. I just want to say right off the bat, you got that agent right before COVID. Everyone has been dealing with isolation. Before dropping an agent, reach out to them. See if you can get to know them. Right, because the reality is that you chose them. You chose that person for a reason.
Yeah.
And fostering the relationship is our job.
Yeah.
As much as it is their job.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I would start with is to just see if I can foster that relationship and make it work before I just dump them. Getting auditions and is not the agent's job. An agent's job is I'm sorry. These are usually questions that you handle. I mean, an agent's job really is to negotiate the best contract possible.
Right.
So pause before you take action on that and reach out to them. What's your take on that, Valorie?
Yeah. So I agree with James. I think that you should always try to fix a relationship before you end a relationship, especially one that especially one that was started during COVID, right? Because every business dealt with COVID differently, and a lot of them did not deal with it well, because like big companies went under, people, because they didn't pivot, right? And so because they didn't it really affected a lot of people, and like everyone molecularly, it changed us globally as a human race, right? So the thing is, like, you have to really go communicate with them and say, hey, we got this relationship during COVID. Let's meet, let's sit down and meet. And I would recommend that you schedule an appointment with myself or with Sarah before you do that, so we can sort of get you prepared for that meeting. That would be, because you want to be prepared before you walk into that meeting. And, if you've never been in a healthy business relationship, it's a guessing game for you. right? I mean, like if you've never had a healthy business of acting or had been in a healthy relationship with an agent, then it becomes a guessing game for you. And no one teaches you how to do that, right? I mean, like, we teach our clients how to do that because we teach our clients everything to do with your business of acting, which is not just an agent. An agent is a very, very, very small part of your business. I just want to be really clear. A lot of people think, oh, once I get the agent, I have an acting career. No, no, it's a very small part. It's like the agent is the dishwasher. If your business is a restaurant, the agent is a dishwasher. I don't mean anything derogatory about that. If your restaurant is busy, you need a dishwasher. If your restaurant is dead and no customers are coming in the door, you do not need a dishwasher. So a lot of actors get agents before they need an agent, and that's why it doesn't work out. Because an agent is a commission-based job, and they might be excited about you when they meet you, but 5 months later, if you haven't booked anything, they've lost interest because you're not bringing money in the door.
The other, yeah, and I want to add to what Valerie just said, and that is that we don't know the suffering someone else has gone through.
Yeah.
So before we cut ties with someone, we need to check and see what was their experience of this time. And I mean that in the most humble, loving way possible. That when we encounter the other person as business people, right? We just like you wouldn't want them to cut you because you haven't worked during COVID, right? Like you wouldn't want your agent to say, "Well, you didn't get any work during COVID, so I'm cutting you." Right?
Yeah.
Just as you wouldn't want that, you also want to check in with them and say, this has been a really hard time. COVID must, I don't know what your experience COVID was, um, but I'd really like to get started, going out as much as I can. Where are we, and what can we do to improve the working relationship? Right. So again, Valerie said it nicely. Like, make an appointment with, talk to Sarah, talk to Valerie. It's a great step to take. I would say pause and examine the business relationship before you cut it.
Yeah.
Adriana followed up. I'm not vaccinated. Is that going to be a problem? Yes. I think honestly, I think that that not being vaccinated is going to be a real problem when you're talking about working with other people in intimate circumstances on set, of any kind of set, stage, TV, film. People are being incredibly careful to protect whole teams because one person with COVID can shut down an entire project.
This is just alone the first document that I had to read and sign off on for a 1-day booking.
Wow.
Right. And then I have to send them my COVID vaccine. I have to send them everything. It's has to do with money. You are talking about being in business, which has something to do with every movie out there, every TV show has to have insurance. They are not going to give them insurance if they don't have people vaccinated. It's a business.
Yep.
So productions are being told by their insurance companies that everyone needs to be vaccinated. Sarah's husband has been at CAA, the most powerful agency in the world, for 18 years.
Wow.
And the cost has gone up like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to do with money. This is a business. It's about money.
Yep.
And that's it, Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, right? So
yeah, this is I mean, I don't want to judge someone else's decisions, as it's your personal decision, but the minute that you're talking about entering the space on a commercial set, there's no question. There's no question.
yeah.
There's too much at stake. So yeah. So Darren said, can we get a religious exemption for vaccine? I think that's not going to happen. And the reason is that
Again,
reason,
it's money,
it's
guys.
just business.
It's just business.
Um, right? They're not like, they might say to you, okay, um, you can choose not to be on the project.
I mean, it's just, that's the way it is. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you and tell you that that's not the way it is. It's like really strict. It's like crazy what I'm having to do for one day, you know, on the set, so it's insane.
I mean, I mean, I have some friends who worked on Blacklist, and the lead actors on Blacklist had separate staircases to the set, because if that lead actor were to get sick,
Yeah,
it shuts down the whole production.
right.
It shuts down the whole production, which means that hundreds of people are out of work, and millions of dollars can be at stake.
Right.
It's the business machine. Um, so yeah. I know this is hard sometimes for people who have these questions, but this is the harsh business reality.
It is.
So.
All right. Is that the questions?
We did good.
Yeah. So we did really good. All right. So one more time, I would love to have you guys join that challenge. You don't need to be vaccinated to join the challenge. It's all online. And, come and find out. I also have, if you would like to join us at Accelerate Live, it's a $27 ticket. You'll be offered that when you sign up for the challenge. I don't want to, hide anything from you, and you don't have to buy a ticket. You don't have to join us for Accelerate Live, but it's sort of like, the whipped cream on the sundae. You're going to build the sundae, and then you want the whipped cream or the chocolate sauce. It's the final thing. And we're going to give cash prizes away. We're going to go deeper into what we learned, because when I go through these things, I go through them. When I'm preparing for an event, I allow myself the metamorphosis that occurs for me to bring you the truth of what I need to tell you. Right? Like, I don't just show up to do a webinar or to show up to do a challenge. I show up to allow myself to go through what is ever happening or coming on to me. So, join us for the challenge, go through the transformation with me, and do that. And then also, join us for Accelerate Live, make it a full Monty, like come on down and do the whole thing. And if you do want to talk to Sarah's putting her link in the chat, and she will be happy to hop on the phone with you on a Zoom call and find out where you're at in your career, and if we might be able to help you get to the next level, whatever that is. So there's Sarah's link. She's putting that in right now. Thank you, Sarah. James and I are here the third Thursday of the month. So we are here. Hold on.
4 weeks.
17th, March, St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day.
Don't come drunk. I'm kidding. You can come drunk.
come green.
Come green. Okay, I'm going to wear green that day.
Yes, exactly.
So come green. We're here St. Patty's Day. We'll be here, and it'll be after the challenge, after Accelerate Live. So, we'll be talking about how that went, what we learned, what the transformation was, and where we're going next with Actors Fast Track, right? Like, we have these events throughout the year. This is our spring event. It's a new event. It used to be called Mind Games. Now it's called Accelerate Live. And then we have our summer pitch fest, where you get to pitch yourself for agents and managers online. And then we have our Game Changer, which is an amazing event. It's our 3-day event, and that's in October. You can find out a lot of things online if you want to go online, and actorsfasttrack.com. We do have a calendar tab on our website, so you can say what's coming up at Actors Fast Track, and we usually try to put all our webinars. We have one more webinar this month, getting ready for the challenge, and it's Tuesday the 22nd at 1 p.m. And we're going to talk about brand. We're going to talk about what your brand is on that day. And then we start on Monday, February 28th with the 2-week challenge. We're going to be talking about brand, pitch, get your customers, how you get in front of people. Those are all the things we're going to be covering during the 2 weeks of the challenge.
That's awesome.
Fabulous. Yay.
There, 4-leaf clover.
Awesome. Oh, and wait, James and I both have birthdays in March.
We do. Oh
Yes,
my
we do.
God. I know.
So I'm going to be, I'm entering the new decade in March.
Oh, wow. You're only slightly ahead of me.
Like 1 year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm turning 59.
I'm turning 60.
Woohoo! That's so awesome.
I know. 60 is the new 40.
Yep.
It's true though. I don't feel like 60. I mean, like if you'd have told me when I was like 20 something that I'd be 60 one day, I'd be like, no, I'll never be that. Like that just seems out of the thing. So now I was looking at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I look fucking hot for a 60-year-old.
You did. It's so true. It's like aging is a whole different. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's another show.
That's another show. Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. It's so true. Oh, thank you, Laura Stisser. I love you, Laura Stisser. You're awesome. So we've been doing, Laura Stisser and I've been doing the 30-day cleanse together. And now we're on our second 30 days.
That's great.
Yeah. We've been doing like the smoothies and the whole thing, Arbonne. So Laura and I've been on it.
That's
so good. Yeah, she's a client who's also getting healthy. So we talk about that a lot. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and I'll see you guys soon. I'll see you at the challenge, and I'll see you next Tuesday for the webinar. It's free. We'll see you then. And thank you, James. It was a great conversation today.
Always nice to see you.
All righty. Have a good day. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, good.
Okay, bye.